Act as if it's yours, not because you're pretending, but because belief shapes behavior. When you truly believe something belongs to you, you stop approaching life like a guest. You stand taller, you speak with certainty, you make decisions faster and with more conviction. Ownership changes everything. Most people wait for evidence before they act. They wait for confidence before they move. But confidence is not a feeling you wait for. It's a result you earn through action. When you act as if it's already yours, you naturally begin to prepare, protect, and pursue it differently. Act as if the dream is yours, and you'll stop wasting time. Act as if the opportunity is yours, and fear will no longer control your choices. Act as if the future is yours, and excuses will start to feel uncomfortable. Miracles are not random events. They're the outcome of alignment, when your thoughts, actions, and identity move in the same direction. The moment you decide who you are becoming, life starts responding to that decision. You don't wait until you feel ready. You move like the person who belongs there. You work with discipline. You raise your standards. You stop shrinking to fit environments that no longer match your vision. This is not arrogance. This is faith in motion. This is believing enough to act even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. Act as if it's yours. Walk like it's yours. Work like it's yours. And watch how the world slowly rearranges itself to meet you at that level. Belief is not just a thought in your mind. It is a force that quietly controls everything you do. The way you see yourself and your future determines how you move, how you speak, and how you respond to challenges. When you truly believe something is yours, your behavior changes automatically, without effort or motivation. Think about how differently you act around something you own compared to something you're only hoping for. Ownership creates certainty. You stop hesitating. You stop second-guessing yourself. Your body language shifts, your voice becomes steady, and your decisions become faster and more decisive. This happens because belief removes inner conflict. When belief is weak, behavior becomes inconsistent. You start strong, then slow down. You work hard one day and doubt yourself the next. But when belief is strong, behavior becomes disciplined. You show up even when motivation is gone. You take responsibility instead of making excuses. You act with purpose because your mind is already convinced. Belief also influences how others respond to you. People sense certainty. They trust those who trust themselves. When you act like something belongs to you, the world begins to treat you differently, not because you demanded it, but because your behavior communicates confidence. This is why belief must come before results. If you wait for success to believe, your actions will always be cautious and limited. But when belief comes first, behavior expands. You take risks, you stay consistent, you move forward even when the outcome is uncertain. Belief is the silent architect of habits, discipline, and consistency. Change what you believe about yourself, and your behavior will no longer need to be forced. It will naturally align with the future you are claiming. Confidence does not come from applause, approval, or perfect conditions. It comes from ownership. The moment you decide that something is yours to pursue, protect, and build, your mindset shifts from uncertainty to responsibility. Ownership removes the question, "Can I?" and replaces it with, "How will I?" When you act like an owner, you stop waiting to be chosen. You stop looking for permission. You take initiative because you no longer see yourself as someone on the outside hoping to be invited in. This internal shift is where real confidence is born. It's not loud. It's not arrogant. It's steady and grounded. Most people try to feel confident before they act, but confidence grows after action, not before it. Ownership pushes you to move even when you feel unsure. Each step you take reinforces self-trust. Each responsibility you accept strengthens your belief that you can handle more. Over time, this builds unshakable confidence. Confidence is not something you wait to feel. It is something you build by acting like an owner long before the world recognizes your claim. Most people delay their lives because they are waiting for proof. Proof of success, proof of safety, proof that they won't fail. But proof does not come first. Action does. Progress begins the moment you move without guarantees. If you wait until everything makes sense, you will stay stuck in preparation forever. Life does not reward hesitation, it responds to movement. Action creates information. It reveals what works and what doesn't. Without action, there's nothing to adjust, nothing to improve, and nothing to build upon. Every major breakthrough in life started with uncertainty. The people who succeed are not the ones who had clarity from the beginning, but the ones who were willing to step forward while still unsure. They didn't eliminate fear, they moved with it. They didn't wait to feel ready, they became ready by acting. Action also silences doubt. Overthinking grows in stillness, but confidence grows in motion. When you take action, your focus shifts from imaginary outcomes to real tasks. Your mind stops asking, "What if?" and starts asking, "What's next?" This shift alone creates momentum. Proof is a result, not a requirement. Results are built step by step, decision by decision. Each small action compounds into experience, skill, and belief. The more you move, the more evidence you create, not just for the world, but for yourself. Waiting for proof keeps you safe, but small. Acting without proof expands your capacity and reshapes your limits. Movement is the language of growth, and action is the only path that turns possibility into reality. Everything you create in your life begins with who you believe you are. Your identity is the internal story you repeat about yourself, and that story quietly directs your choices, habits, and standards. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your identity. When your identity is small, your actions stay small. You hesitate, you second-guess yourself, and you avoid responsibility because it doesn't match how you see yourself. But when you upgrade your identity, your behavior naturally shifts. You start doing things that once felt uncomfortable, not because they're easy, but because they now feel necessary. Identity determines what you tolerate. It shapes what you accept, what you walk away from, and what you fight for. When you see yourself as someone who succeeds, you stop allowing patterns that pull you backward. You raise your standards without needing motivation, because your new identity demands consistency. Reality begins to change when your self-image changes. You start attracting different conversations, opportunities, and challenges, not by luck, but by alignment. Your decisions become clearer because they are filtered through the question, is this who I am becoming? Identity also controls effort. When an action matches who you believe you are, it doesn't feel forced. Discipline becomes natural. Growth becomes expected. You no longer chase results, you embody the type of person that produces them. The moment you decide your future identity, your present reality begins adjusting around that decision. Preparation is one of the clearest signals of true belief. People do not prepare deeply for things they doubt will happen. They prepare for what they believe is coming. The level of your preparation reveals the level of your faith. When you act as if something is yours, you naturally start getting ready for it. You study more, you practice longer, you organize your time differently. You remove distractions because they no longer match where you believe you are going. Preparation becomes intentional, not forced. Many people say they believe in their future, but their actions expose hesitation. They wait until the opportunity arrives before they prepare, hoping they can catch up later. But real faith moves ahead of events. It gets ready before the door opens, not after. Preparation also builds internal confidence. The more prepared you are, the less you rely on luck. You trust yourself because you know you've done the work. This quiet confidence doesn't need validation because it is rooted in effort and discipline. When you prepare, you create readiness, and readiness attracts opportunity. When the moment arrives, you don't panic, you respond. You don't rush, you execute. Preparation turns possibility into performance. Faith without preparation is only a wish, but preparation backed by belief create momentum that moves you closer to what you have already claimed. Fear grows in hesitation and weakens in motion. The longer you stand still, the louder fear becomes. It feeds on imagination, creating worst-case scenarios that feel real even though they haven't happened. But the moment you take action, fear begins to lose its grip. Action interrupts fear's control. When you move forward, your focus shifts from what could go wrong to what needs to be done. Your mind stops replaying doubts and starts solving problems. This shift alone creates momentum. Fear often disguises itself as logic. It tells you to wait, to be careful, to prepare more, to avoid risk. But action exposes fear for what it really is: resistance to growth. Every time you act despite fear, you prove to yourself that fear does not decide your future. Small actions weaken fear the most. Each step forward builds evidence that you can handle discomfort. Over time, fear stops feeling like a warning and starts feeling like a signal that you are expanding beyond your comfort zone. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is movement in its presence. The people who grow the most are not the fearless ones, but the ones who refuse to let fear dictate their behavior. Action turns fear into fuel and transforms hesitation into strength. Miracles are often misunderstood as sudden, unexplained events, but in reality, they are usually the result of alignment. Alignment happens when your thoughts,